Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Star Wars Wednesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with Star Wars The Black Series, A New Hope, Chewbacca. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here on the top, we've got nothing but this hook flap and some tape. On the front, Star Wars The Black Series, we have a window here showcasing the accessories and most of the figure. Number 11, Chewbacca, Star Wars A New Hope. 4 and up assortment numbers. There it is if you need that kind of thing. And Hasbro print. On the bottom, small print, fine print, legalese print, made in China print, symbols I'm not going to learn, and a barcode. And on this side, nothing up here at the top. Window here on the side to let some light in from the side. The stripe on the front that says Star Wars A New Hope continues around the side at an upward angle and then around to the back. Star Wars The Black Series. On this side, we've got some nice artwork of Chewie being Chewie. And on the back, we've got that same artwork right here. Star Wars The Black Series, Chewbacca. Chewbacca is a legendary Wookiee warrior with a big heart, known for his short temper, accuracy with a bowcaster, and unwavering loyalty to his friends. And there it is again in some other languages. Again, he's number 11 in Star Wars A New Hope subline. Warning, attention, Octoon, don't stick things in any other language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Disney print includes figure and accessory. And then small fine legalese made in China print and Hasbro print. That, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. Or accessory, because it's one accessory in 2 parts. And first up here we have his bowcaster, which is kind of a soft plastic. It's not as soft right here in the middle, but I think that's just because it's thick. And then the strap is actually quite flexible. I don't know if it's as flexible as it needs to be, but we do have lots of nice molded details in there. The sights up here at the top. Wires, knobs, bits and bobs. Nice molded details there where the strap connects on. Fixed sight. And then the strap itself. No paint app for the buckles. Here, here, or here. But it does have a little bit of nice molded details in the strap to give it a little bit of definition. A wash definitely would have helped it there, but I think this is all paint app. Paint dip, maybe. I don't know. I don't know exactly how they put it on there, but it's on there. And then as far as the other side goes, pretty much the same thing. You can see in the packaging the barrel gets a little bent there. That's how it is, I guess. So, and here's the magnetic ball pieces attached by a rod. And then you can see it's got the little notch in it right there. And where it installs is right there. And you can see it does have a notch in it. And maybe I can do this on camera. There you have it. I can still see this being an issue. I think this is actually a new mold, but with this being 2 pieces still, I think there's going to be some issues with this phone. At least I think it's new. I'm pretty sure it's new. Feels new. Of course, it's been a little while since I reviewed a Chewbacca. It was the Return of the Jedi Jabba's prisoner. Bush's prisoner. Whatever. So anyway, let's take a look at the figure itself. And at first glance, it looks like there's, you know, it's Chewbacca. It looks like Chewbacca. And it doesn't really look all that new. However, it does, there may be some reuse going on in here. I don't know exactly what to tell you it is. I don't pick up every single Chewbacca or Wookiee release. In fact, this is, you know, the second Chewbacca out of the Black Series I picked up was the Return of the Jedi prisoner Chewbacca. And this is only the 3rd Chewbacca that I have picked up. So, there is that. So, you know, I feel like that first Chewbacca was really, really good. But there are some improvements here. So, again, I couldn't tell you exactly how much of this is new and how much of this is reused. But I would say I think most of it is new. So, nice molded detail throughout the figure of the fur, and it does have some fades where appropriate. I would have also liked to have seen a little bit of wash on this just to help all these details stand out, because there is a ton of details in this mold that just kind of, I don't want to say blend in, but you know, it would be a lot easier to see them with a little bit of a wash. Also, a little bit of that wash would kind of cut down on, it's very plasticky looking, if that makes sense. And I know we're looking at it under all these lights for the green screen and stuff, but even not under the light with all of this glare that this figure seems to be picking up, it still looks and feels very plasticky, which maybe the feel of it should be plasticky because it is made of plastic, but it shouldn't look that way. And I think a wash and even maybe a dull coat would rectify that. So, but while we're talking about paint, let's take a look at his face. Look at those beautiful blue eyes. And it looks like they may have some fade in here around the upper lip and around the nose area. So the nose, then you've got the mouth, and then the teeth. So very nice. And this sculpt is fantastic. So we've got the silver bits in his bandolier and buckles and bits and bobs and stuff, and even in between these bars of whatever they happen to be. Ammunition is what I'm always assumed that they were. So, and then again, you know, it's got some nice dark to light going on, and it's not, I called it fading before, but it's almost banding rather than fading. It doesn't really fade. It's just like it's dark and then it's light. And then we've got some color here on his fingers and palms, and then hair hanging down on his hands, because, you know, with his arms relaxed at his side, that's how it would be. And then his toes and the bottoms of his feet. So, well, it's a look. Let's talk about his articulation. He looks up that high. He looks down that far. So that's pretty good. He's got chicken neck. I don't think the others had chicken neck. He's got some waggle. And I don't think the others had waggle. I think this hit is on a dumbbell maybe. So can he do the full exorcist? He can. It's tight. And you think you're not going to make it, but you do. At the shoulders, let's see. Butterfly would have been super nice there. So 360 degrees of rotation. And he can raise his arm up approximately 90 degrees. Single hinge and swivel at the elbow. And I think this hinge is cut a lot bigger than previous releases, because look at that bend. I mean, wow. That's pretty darn good. And he gets just as good on the other side. So very, very deep cuts. And I want to say that's much better than what the other figures got. So there's a cut here. You can see there's like 2 overlays here, and there's a cut in here where the chest and the abdomen meet. And it gives him a little hula, not a lot. It lets him lean back just slightly. And trying to do it without the head. There we go. So he leans forward that far. And that was a very stiff joint. So let me see if I can get more back. Nope. Still the same back. But he does get... He gets a little better forward. So that's good. That's good. And then, let's see. Does he have rotation there? Yes, he has a full 360 degrees of rotation here as well. I'm wondering... Nothing in the hips, though, as far as rotation. No waist. His waist is up, y'all. Like an old man. So let's talk about the hips. The mold itself feels like it gives you about that much of the splits, but because of this overlay, it is hindered a little bit, and it'll push the legs back down to about there. So you might as well just say that is the amount of splits that Chewbacca can give you. Even though, you know, you've got slits in the side, it's still... Anyway, so he can kick forward that far, and again it feels like this is impeding that a little bit, and then back pretty darn good. And this is where the overlay stops, and I think it would go a little bit further back, not a lot. So it doesn't appear to be anything in the thigh. There's not. It's on a ball joint there at the hip though, so you get some little bit of rotation there. And then single hinge and swivel at the knee, swivels around 360 degrees. And just like the elbows, I think this hinge cuts a lot deeper than previous releases. So you get that much bend out of it. So that's really, really good, in my opinion. Now at the ankle, let's see. The foot twists around 360 degrees, so it must be on a peg. They go straight up into the leg. At the ankle, it tilts down that far, which I don't think the previous releases did. And up that far, and I know they didn't go up that far. And then it does have forward-facing pin for rocker as well. So as far as storage goes, of course, you know, it's got the strap on it so Chewbacca can carry his bowcaster with him, although it never wants to stay up like it's supposed to on any Chewbacca release. So he can carry it like that, and of course most of the time we see him holding it in his hands. And I'll pause it for a minute to get that, because I don't know how difficult it's going to be to get it in his hand properly. And here we go, my friends. Here he has it in his hands, and it wasn't actually too bad. The hands are made out of a pretty soft material, so they were easy to manipulate around the bowcaster. And one thing that I did forget to mention, I don't think I mentioned his wrists. So at the wrist, it does rotate 360 degrees, and they're on the Indiana Jones Adventure Series ball and peg, so they get in and out, they get up and down, they get all around. So very good for Chewbacca. And I'm guessing that the Black Series going forward is going to be more of that style of wrist. Oh, there you have it, my friends. A look at the figure and his accessories and storage. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have Star Wars The Black Series, A New Hope, Chewbacca, with Star Wars The Black Series, that very first Black Series Chewbacca. Star Wars The Black Series, Return of the Jedi, Bush's Prisoner Chewbacca, and Star Wars The Black Series, A New Hope, Han Solo. For our last set of comparisons, here we have Star Wars The Black Series, A New Hope Chewbacca, with from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee from G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander from Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison, from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on Star Wars The Black Series, A New Hope, Chewbacca, I have to say, I think I said it all during the portion when we were actually looking at the figure, but I'm going to try to reiterate all those points that I made. Now, the deco on here is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's pretty decent, especially for Black Series. But I do feel like two things are missing. And number one is a very light wash. And number two is an overlay, a clear overlay, to just cut down on the very, very plasticky look of this guy. And maybe that would give the fur a more natural appearance, other than where it's segmented, because there's no, you can't do anything about that. That is what it is. As far as I can tell, this is mostly new, if not all new. And I think it's a good upgrade to the very first Chewbacca in the Black Series, which is the one of the only. I only have two other Chewbaccas. One is the very first Black Series release of Chewbacca, and the second one is Chewbacca as Bush's prisoner and from Return of the Jedi. And I have to say, this feels like a big improvement over both of those, because I think those are mostly the same there. And I could be wrong, but it feels like this one is new for the most part. New mold, a new sculpt, new pieces. There may be some reuse in here, but it's only going to be minimal stuff, like maybe the bag or perhaps the feet. I don't know. I'm not an expert on these things. I only pretend to be on YouTube sometimes. And this is one of those times I'm not gonna pretend and be an expert. I'm not an expert on anything. And just, I'm going to go with my gut and say, 90 to 95% of this guy is new. It moves better. It looks better. The range of motion seems to be better. And I think overall, it's just a better figure. And what better time to upgrade Chewbacca than with Han Solo? Because I upgraded Han Solo too. Because, whoo, that first Black Series Han Solo from A New Hope is bad. But of course, a lot of those older figures were, and they're a product of their time. And at the time, they still weren't all that great. But we just didn't know any better, I suppose. I guess. I'm guessing. I don't know. Your mileage may vary. But I think this Chewbacca is... I think this is a good time to upgrade Chewbacca. Now, in 6 months, will they come out with one that's slightly better? Yeah, they might. But I look forward to them using this Chewbacca to make a Return of the Jedi Chewbacca without the neck chain. Just a regular Return of the Jedi Chewbacca. And I would also like to see them use this Chewbacca with an Empire Strikes Back motif and the disassembled C-3PO. And I know they did an Amazon pack of that years ago, but I would like to see an updated version, maybe with updated C-3PO parts, as well as updated Chewbacca parts. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.